This is an Arduino. It's basically a little microcontroller that takes a bunch of inputs and then gives you an output based off of what those inputs are. Today, I'm going to make this thing control some lights. Now, since you can't just go and pump regular household current through this thing without, frying the living crap out of the board, you need what's called a relay module. This thing is 4 separate channels of relays that are able to handle up to 250 volts at 10 amps each. Now, this is honestly probably a little bit overkill for what I'm trying to do, but to control a bunch of outlets, that'll be just fine. But you have to figure out how to actually control them first. So let's figure that out first. So the question now is since we're using a microcontroller, it takes a bunch of inputs and processes an output based off of that. How do I give it an input to control a bunch of relays? I've thought of just, soldering on an aux cord, plugging it into your phone and having it control that way. Turns out that's probably not a good idea. I've tried thinking of using a Raspberry Pi and doing it that way. Putting a hat on top of it to control a bunch of relays. Turns out that was insanely complicated to do that. So I think I've thought of a good strategy, and we're going to use something called a serial port in C#. Now, what serial allows me to do is I can basically set up the Arduino as essentially a dummy board that's just sitting there waiting for a command. So my code over here will go connect the board and send channel 1 on, for example. The board will pick up on that, read channel 1 on, take it and go, okay, channel 1 relay needs to turn on, and turn it on. Now it's doing that on top of processing the audio, and I'll explain more of that later, but essentially that's how we're going to connect to the board. I have no idea if this is actually going to work. In theory it should, but who knows? Now, forgetting completely about Arduinos, microcontrollers, relay boards, all that, what I need first is the heart of the system. This program picks up on the current sound device on my computer and in real time will detect the beat, give me a bunch of volume levels, all that. Basically it processes the audio and gives me a bunch of on and off commands. Now I've added some cool effects to it, so hopefully if this works it'll be kind of cool to look at. But this is the heart of the system. If you want me to explain more of the code, I could do more of that in a separate video, probably over on the Patreon. But that's the code, that's the board. Let's get everything hooked up now. Probably about a couple hours of fiddling around with code, I finally figured out how to upload code to the Arduino, and it's now responding to my commands through this program. If I connect to it quick and I turn them all on, they're already on, so they're not going to do anything, but if I turn them all off, and now back on, which means this is probably going to work. So, I'm going to turn them all off quick. I'm going to check my real-time checkbox here, and I'm going to start playing something, and we're going to see what happens. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life! This is amazing! I gotta wait for the bass drop though. This is so awesome! This is like a million times better than I thought it was gonna be. Now that I know that it works, I gotta make the relays actually do something. But it's currently midnight. I fiddled around with the code a little bit, got it to work a little bit more reliably without destroying the relays. You might have noticed in the video the relays were flickering when they were on. I made it stop doing that now, but I gotta wait till tomorrow in order to run to the hardware store and get some components to actually make it do something. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So it's actually been a couple weeks since the last time I filmed part of this video. And today, I'm actually going to make the relay board do something practical. I've gone to my local home center and I've gotten myself a plastic electrical box, some outlets, some various wire and plugs, supplies to actually make it control a couple outlets. Because my goal with this is I want to be able to put a couple outlets in here like this, and the relay board will just turn each switch on and off. That way you can put however many numbers of lights you want on there, actually, to whatever the relay board can hold. That's 10 amps before you start melting the relay. But anyway, that's the goal for today. But anybody that's ever used an outlet before knows they both come on at the same time when you give it power. And I'm going to show you a trick to break that up. Also, a quick disclaimer here, I am by no means an electrician, and this is by no means a tutorial on how to do electrical work. You should always do electrical work with the supervision of a certified electrician, or if you are an electrician yourself. You should technically have safety protocols in your house in the event something bad were to happen if you did do this, but this is by no means encouraging anybody to do their own electrical work. Hire an electrician. Before I move on, I just want to quickly explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. Now, this is probably the best way I can explain it. This is a regular old plug, something that you would plug into one of these outlets normally, like every day you do, okay? If you take the end of it off, it's simply just, this is your hot wire, which carries the current. This is your neutral wire that sends the current back, and here's your ground in the event something bad happens. So, oversimplifying it, this is essentially what I've done with this box. Each one of these red wires corresponds to each outlet for a power wire. They all share one common neutral going back to this wire, and then they all share the same ground. Piece of cake, easy to understand. Took about 40 minutes to do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is done. Probably, hopefully. In theory, everything should work right now. So, the way it works, as of right now, this is where my Arduino hooks in. The Arduino sends a signal to the board, turning on and off the relays, which we've covered previously. But the addition here is now, this cord will plug into the wall, sending power to all of these relays. Okay, but the relays are off until the Arduino tells it to turn on. Turning it on will send the signal to the outlet, turning on the corresponding light to whatever signal is being sent through it. In theory, this should all work. and I'm really scared to plug it in because after thinking about this, planning it for months now, actually seeing it put together, I really don't know if I want to plug it in or not. Alright, this is it. After months of planning, reading wiring diagrams, figuring out everything, it's now down to this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn off the lights and we're going to see how this thing works. And there you go. I've successfully built a working system to turn on and off a bunch of outlets to music. This is a pretty fun project, not gonna lie. Besides a few issues coding, but when is coding ever easy? If you like the video, make sure you give it a like rating. Of course, subscribe down below if you want to watch other projects and other weird stuff I come up with. If you want to attempt to make this yourself, I will leave a list down below in the description of where you can buy everything. I'll also leave a link to my GitHub where you can download the source code and all that. I did all the hard work for you. Feel free to fiddle around with the code, do whatever you want with it. If you want to, feel free to @ me over on Twitter. I would like to see if you guys actually end up making some of this stuff. If you want to help support the videos, there will be a link down below to my Patreon. There are 3 tiers that you can subscribe to. They all give you access to bonus content, behind the scenes stuff, private chats, stuff like that. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna head out of here. I gotta go edit this video, and I will see all of you next time. Peace.